Biafra Deputy Prime Minister Ngozi Orabueze sends explosive message to United Nations, UN, and to the entire world. She stated that the Nigerian government suppresses dissent, integrates non-terrorists into the military and police, and uses them against the people, particularly in Biafra territories. According to her, countries like France, Britain and Finland negotiate for Nigerian oil but ignore the ongoing killings and human rights abuses in Biafra land. She reveals that the Nigerian state labels Biafrans as separatists, terrorists and criminals to justify repression and gain international support. She accused foreign governments engaging with Nigeria in oil deals of enabling and profiting from the genocide against Biafrans. According to her, Biafra has declared itself a sovereign nation due to systematic oppression and is demanding the withdrawal of Nigerian security forces from its territory. She accused the Nigerian government of manipulating elections, stealing ballot boxes, and imposing leaders who facilitate oppression. She stated that Biafrans and other Nigerians suffer from inadequate healthcare, education, electricity, and infrastructure, despite the country's wealth in oil and natural resources. According to her, the Nigerian government, with alleged support from foreign states, has arrested Biafran leaders like Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu to silence the movement. She further stated that the Nigerian military, including reintegrated terrorists, allegedly occupies Biafra land, using armored vehicles and weapons against civilians. According to her, Biafrans vow to continue their fight for self-determination, resist oppression, and hold foreign collaborators accountable for their role in Nigeria's exploitation. I remember the day I first heard the story that would haunt my thoughts for weeks afterward. I was sitting at home, the afternoon sun filtering through my window, when I came across a news report that felt less like a headline and more like a personal cry for justice. It was the voice of Ngozi Orabueze, the Deputy Prime Minister of Biafra, speaking directly to the world. A message so raw and so full of emotion that it demanded my full attention. I had heard about the struggles of the Biafran people before, whispered in conversations and seen in grainy news clips, but never had I felt so deeply moved by a single message. In that moment, as I listened, I realized that this was not just another political statement. It was a passionate, heartfelt appeal from a leader who had seen too much pain and injustice inflicted upon her people. Ngozi Orabueze's message was explosive in every sense of the word. With a voice that carried both grief and anger, she described the deep-seated suffering of the people in Biafra, a land that many of us only knew as a troubled region on the map of Nigeria. She told us how the Nigerian government, under the leadership of President Tinubu and the hands-on direction of Defense Chief Christopher Musa, had been suppressing any form of dissent. I could almost feel the tremor in her words as she explained that the government did not simply quell opposition. It went further by reintegrating people who were not even genuine terrorists into its military and police forces, only to use them as tools of repression against the very citizens who deserved protection. It was a revelation that made my heart sink. How could a government rich in natural resources and power allow such cruelty to fester within its borders? What struck me most was her candid accusation against foreign powers. She pointed her finger not only at her own government, but also at countries like France, Britain, and Finland. According to Ngozi Orabueze, these nations were busy negotiating deals for Nigerian oil, while deliberately turning a blind eye to the ongoing massacre and human rights abuses that were unfolding in Biafra. I remember thinking about the stark contrast between the polished, diplomatic meetings held in grand European halls and the daily horror experienced by the people on the ground in Biafra. Here was a leader holding these foreign governments accountable for profiting from a system built on oppression and bloodshed. She argued that by engaging in lucrative oil deals, they were complicit in the genocide being perpetrated against innocent Biafrans, all the while ignoring the cries for help from a population that was starving for freedom and dignity. As she continued, Ngozi Orabueze described a grim reality that no one wanted to face. The Nigerian state, she said, had labeled the Biafran people as separatists, terrorists, and criminals, a move designed to justify the harsh repression and the brutal tactics used against them. Hearing this, I couldn't help but feel a mix of sorrow and indignation. It seemed as though the people of Biafra were being robbed not only of their land, but also of their identity, forced to live under a label that painted them as the very enemies of the state they longed to protect. It was a clever but cruel manipulation, one that transformed a quest for self-determination into an accusation of criminality. Ngozi Orabueze did not stop there. She revealed that the struggle of Biafra was not merely a political squabble, but a battle for survival and dignity. In her powerful speech, she declared that Biafra had, in fact, already declared itself a sovereign nation, a bold statement born out of systematic oppression and relentless injustice. For years, the people of Biafra had been denied the basic human rights that so many take for granted. They were forced to live in conditions where healthcare, education, electricity, and infrastructure were severely lacking, even though their land was blessed with abundant oil and other natural resources. It was a paradox that tore at the very fabric of what a nation should be. I found myself questioning the moral foundations of a government that allowed such disparities to exist, where the wealth of the nation was siphoned off while its people suffered in silence. One of the most jarring parts of the speech was the way Ngozi Orabueze detailed the mechanisms of oppression. She talked about the Nigerian government's manipulation of elections, how ballot boxes were stolen, how votes were tampered with, and how leaders were imposed upon the people to ensure that the system continued to favor the ruling elite. I could sense the bitterness in her voice as she recounted these stories of betrayal. It was not just a matter of political rivalry, it was a calculated effort to strip the people of their voice and their power. The fact that these actions were carried out with the assistance of foreign collaborators who were reaping the benefits of Nigeria's oil wealth added another layer of treachery to the situation. The more I listened, the more I understood that the struggle for Biafra was not isolated. It was part of a broader narrative of exploitation and subjugation that extended far beyond the borders of Nigeria. As if the political maneuvering was not enough, the human cost of these actions was staggering. Ngozi Orabueze painted a picture of a land where innocent men, women and children were being killed every day. She described how the Nigerian military, bolstered by reintegrated fighters who were anything but heroes, occupied Biafran territory with an iron fist. These soldiers, armed with tanks and automatic weapons, roamed the streets, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Their presence was a constant reminder of the power imbalance, a power that was used not to protect, but to terrorize. I felt a deep sorrow for the families who had lost loved ones, for the communities that were torn apart by violence, and for a future that seemed increasingly bleak under such conditions. The speech also touched on the arrest of key Biafran leaders, including Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu, figures who had become symbols of resistance against the oppressive regime. Their detentions were not just political moves, they were part of a larger strategy to silence any opposition and to stamp out the desire for freedom. I couldn't help but feel a pang of empathy for these leaders, who were risking everything to stand up for what they believed in. Their struggle was a poignant reminder that the fight for self-determination was fraught with peril, yet fueled by an unwavering commitment to justice and the hope of a better tomorrow. Throughout her speech, Ngozi Orabueze made it abundantly clear that the struggle of the Biafran people was not just about political independence, it was about reclaiming their humanity. She urged the international community to wake up to the reality on the ground. She implored foreign governments to stop negotiating oil deals with Nigeria, without first addressing the rampant human rights abuses that were taking place in Biafra. In her own words, she called on every world leader who was benefiting from Nigeria's crude oil reserves to step back and reconsider their alliances. I found her words both scathing and deeply sincere, a plea that resonated with anyone who believes in the fundamental right to live in peace and dignity. As I sat there, absorbing every word, I realized that this was a story of injustice on multiple levels. It was a story about a nation rich in resources, but impoverished in basic human rights. It was a tale of a government that used every trick in the book, manipulated elections, controlled the narrative through labels like separatist and terrorist, and maintained its grip on power by rearming those who had once been its enemies. And it was a story about ordinary people who were caught in the crossfire of a conflict that was as much about identity as it was about politics. The pain of the Biafran people was palpable, their yearning for freedom echoing in every word of the speech. I could not shake the image of armed vehicles and tanks patrolling the streets of Biafra, a stark contrast to the orderly parades and disciplined militaries of nations like Finland, Britain, and even the United States. In those other countries, military might was displayed in ceremonial fashion, a symbol of national pride rather than a tool of oppression. But in Biafra, the military presence was a constant, menacing force that underscored the everyday reality of living under occupation. The use of reintegrated fighters, soldiers who had once been labeled as terrorists but were now being employed against their own people, was a tactic so twisted that it defied belief. It was as if the very notion of loyalty had been inverted, turning those who should be protectors into instruments of terror. Ngozi Orabueze's speech was more than just a denunciation of the Nigerian state's actions. It was a declaration of intent. She spoke with the conviction of someone who believed that her people had the inherent right to determine their own destiny. Biafra, she declared, was a sovereign nation, a claim that was as much about reclaiming lost dignity as it was about drawing a line in the sand. This declaration was not made lightly. It came after years of systematic oppression, after countless lives had been shattered by a government that cared more about maintaining power than about serving its people. I found myself swept up in the passion of her words, feeling as though I were right there on the front lines of a battle for freedom. In her heartfelt address, she went on to call for an immediate withdrawal of Nigerian security forces from Biafran territory. She demanded that the reintegrated fighters, who were masquerading as protectors, be removed from the land they had been sent to oppress. It was a bold call to action, one that left no room for ambiguity. The message was clear. The Biafran people would no longer tolerate the presence of a foreign force that treated their homes like battlefields. I could hear the determination in her voice, a sound that spoke of years of suffering and a resolve that had been hardened by the realities of daily brutality. The personal nature of her message made it impossible to ignore the human cost of these policies. I was particularly struck by her vivid descriptions of life in Biafra, a life marked by poverty, inadequate health care, and a lack of basic infrastructure. Here was a nation that was blessed with oil and natural resources, yet its people were left to suffer from diseases, hunger, and a scarcity of even the most basic amenities. It was a cruel irony, a testament to the misplaced priorities of a government that chose to invest in military might and political manipulation over the well-being of its citizens. In a tone that was both sorrowful and defiant, she reminded us that the struggle was not just for political autonomy, but for the very survival of a people who deserved better.
To be free from a government that oppresses, suppresses, reintegrates non-terrorists into the military and police and armed forces and use them. Nigerian state does not talk about the killings that they do every day inside Nigeria, inside Biafra land. When Tinubu goes to France to negotiate for oil, When Finland Foreign Affairs Minister comes to Nigeria to negotiate for oil, when Britain continues to reap from the oil that are produced in Biafra land, you do not discuss these killings with Christopher Musa, the Nigerian Defense Minister. No, he doesn't tell you this. He tells you that Biafrans, we are separatists, we are terrorists, we are killing people, we are, they use all derogatory and criminal names to define us. That is what the Nigerian state do to their foreign counterparts that are part of the criminality and murder and genocide going on in Biafra territory every day. If you are a foreign state, a foreign leader, and you have any business to do with Nigerian state, you should be ashamed of yourself. And you must know that you are participating and encouraging the killing of innocent men, women, and children, not only in Nigeria, but also in the Biafra territory. You should be ashamed of yourself. And Biafra has been declared because of this genocide, because of these killings. Today, Biafra is a sovereign nation, and we must defend our territory. So I'm using this opportunity to call on any world leader that are negotiating, that is benefiting from the oil reserves of Biafra land. From today, you need to stop. You need to quit. Because you cannot continue to reap from us while the Nigerian state reintegrates non-terrorists and ship them to our land to kill us, because we are just voicing out our opinion, because we are trying to develop our land, because we want to make Biafra a better place. We want our people to live just the way your people live in Finland, live in Europe, live in America. That is what we aspire for our people. So if you are part of the Western country milking the oil from Nigeria, which comes mostly from Biafra land, you are part of the genocide of killing innocent Biafrans who wants to have a better life, just like you and your children are having. That is what all of us are fighting for. That is all we fight for. It is a basic right for self-determination. We have a right to rule ourselves. We do not want the criminals that are heaped on us by the Nigerian state during elections. Ballot boxes are stolen away. They go and just change all the numbers, and they impose those that will continue to help them kill innocent Biafra, to help them continue to source you, the foreign entity that is milking the resources, the oil reserves, the oil that is in Biafra land. I know you don't want to be a part of that. I know they won't tell you that, but that is exactly what the Nigerian state, headed by President Tinubu, is doing. With the defense chief, Christopher Musa, that is exactly what they do. They ask you to send them arms to fight the terrorists. There is no terrorist except the ones they engineer. The terrorists that Nigerian state tells you about are the terrorists that Nigerian state reintegrates and rehabilitates. And they ask you, Western country, to send them arms to come and help them. All they're asking for are these mercenaries that you encourage, and you allow the Nigerian state to ship them down to Nigerian state, to the Biafran state, to the Biafran government, to the Biafran nation, to indigenous Nigerians. That is where all your arms, ammunitions, businesses, alliances, that is what Nigerian President Tinubu, Christopher Musa, and all their ambassadors, that is what they do today. It's not about the people of Nigeria. It's not about the citizens. It is about maintaining power and continue to milk that oil to send to you. And Biafrans have said no. That will not continue anymore. What the Nigerian state, Nigerian government does is to silence anyone, any innocent citizen that dare to ask a question, that dare to ask, why are you milking our economic and natural resources? Why our people die in abject poverty? Our people do not have the basic health care. We do not have electricity. We do not have just regular roads, no seaport, no airport, no international airport. That is the only question that we ask the Nigerian state, just like other indigenous Nigerians. Why do you continue to milk our crude oil and send it to Europe? Why our people do not have adequate health care, no standard hospital, no standard first-class hospital, educational system. In the northern part of Nigeria, most of the schools are shut down throughout the year. And you are a foreign company, a foreign country, reaping in the blood of innocent indigenous Nigerians. Do you ask those questions? Don't you see it all over social media? You got the template, you got the news, it's everywhere. But you don't care. You are more concerned about the oil you get from Nigeria to service and build your nation. Why the indigenous Nigerians, indigenous Biafrans die every day from basic services you offer to your people. And you think you are making the world a better place? And you think you are justified in what you are doing? And when Tinubu travels, Nigerian president travels from Nigeria to go to France to get yearly checkup, you do not ask yourself, why is it that you, President Tinubu, you have a country that is rich in oil and mineral resources? You do not trust your healthcare system. Why don't you, France, Europe, why don't Britain, why don't you ask President Tinubu, why is he not getting the basic health care in his own country, Nigeria, that supplies you the oil, that you are negotiating to get the oil? Why don't you ask him that question? But he comes to France for regular yearly medical checkup, right? Or goes to Britain. I'm glad they don't come to America anymore for that. Finland, why don't you ask Nigeria, Christopher Musa, Bianca Ono, that made a report to you about our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa? Why don't you ask them why their leaders go abroad, they fly abroad for basic health care? And you are negotiating to get oil from them, right? The oil that comes from our own land, from the Biafra territory. You should be ashamed of yourself. So, I welcome all of Biafrans. We thank God today, Biafra is a sovereign nation. Biafra is a sovereign nation with all the criteria of a sovereign nation. We have formally notified Nigerian state to withdraw all their reintegrated terrorists wearing Nigerian military, police, security outfits in Biafra territory. We have also formally notified the delegitimized governors occupying Biafra territory, such as Soludo, Uzodimma, Mba, and Co., to leave Biafra territory, to leave all the government buildings in Biafra land, because it belongs to Biafra people. We have the 40 states in Biafra land. We have 40 governors in Biafra land today. These Biafran governors, they've recruited over 30,000 indigenous Biafrans that are ready to start work from day one in Biafra territory. As we speak, any military wearing Nigerian military uniform, any police wearing Nigerian police uniform, any security outfit hired by the delegitimized Southeast and South governors in Biafra territory, you are mandated to leave Biafra land. You are occupying a foreign land. We have declared our independence in Latvia, Finland on November the 29th, 2024. You are currently, Nigerian state, you are currently occupying a foreign territory. And we mandate you to leave immediately. We mandate you to leave our land immediately. You have killed our people enough. You are withdrawing our Biafran men, killing them, kidnapping them. You are using the legitimized security outfits you have, such as Ebubago, such as the one that Saludo or Operation Udogacho or whatever, the one by Pitamba. All these security agents are illegitimate as we stand today in Biafra land, and we implore you to withdraw. Move all of them out from Biafra land. We have been exploring all the peaceful avenues to ensure that Biafra is a sovereign state. Biafra defends her territory. Biafra citizens scattered all over the world, they are eager to go home and develop their land. Give their people those basic amenities that everyone enjoys in a Western world. Nigeria has the capacity. We have the people. We have the manpower. Nigeria have some of the best doctors, nurse practitioners, nurses scattered all over the world. And now this is the time for them to go back to their motherland and offer those services to their own people and improve the quality of life of their people. So that there are people that are dying daily from abject poverty, from high blood pressure of 300 over 200, from blood sugar of 600 plus, and nobody is catering for them because the Nigerian state has not provided those services to them. That is what Biafrans all over the world want to go home this year and offer to our people. And I think it is just a fair statement. That is what we want to do. That is what we long to do. Biafrans and most indigenous Nigerians have scattered their life all over outside the Nigerian territory because of the leadership we have, the criminal leadership that reintegrates non-terrorists to protect them during elections. Elections that are rigged, elections that are manipulated, elections that other foreign world bodies have declared those elections non-credible. How long is Britain going to continue this manipulation? How long will Finland continue to listen to this criminality from the Nigerian state? How long will France continue to allow Tinubu to come to France for a basic healthcare system? Meanwhile, this is somebody that is planning billions of dollars of contracts in oil with you, but cannot provide basic health care to his people, cannot provide basic education. Almost all part of northern Nigeria has been besieged by reintegrated terrorists brought in by President Tinubu and Christopher Musa. When they tell you there are terrorists in Nigeria, do not believe what they say. They create the safe haven for these terrorists to come into Nigeria and take over the indigenous people's home because they can control them. They can count their numbers during election for them to continue to perpetuate themselves in power. So when you are a foreign country and you listen to the criminality of the Nigerian state, which is already a failed state, and you offer them any weapon, any resources in the name of fighting terrorism, you also is part of that criminality and terrorism. We are Biafrans. We have the right for self-determination. We have the right for self-defense. Our people are killed every day. Our people are murdered every day. Innocent men, women, and children are being murdered in Nigeria by the Nigeria, engineered by Tinubu, the Nigerian state, in partnership with Hope Uzodinma, with Chris Soludo, with Pitamba, and the rest of them. This is a calculated, systemic thing they've been doing to kill almost all males in Biafra territory, arrest them. They are scattered in different jails across Nigeria. Most of them are tagged terrorists. Just like Finland is trying to tag our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa a terrorist in defense of the Nigerian terrorist government. But we promise you, we will see how this situation with Finland and Biafra and Nigeria is going to end up. And I call on Alex Todd to intervene and release our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, because Finland has contributed to the killing of innocent Biafrans between November and today by taking away our Prime Minister, the head of state of the United States of Biafra, allowing the reintegrated terrorists by Christopher Musa to bomb, to jump into Biafra territory and kill a lot of innocent women, children, and indigenous Biafrans, killing lots of Christians for nothing, just because Christopher Musa wants to continue to milk our oil and send it to Europe. We are calling on Finland to release our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa immediately. He has not committed any crime except fighting the Nigerian terrorists that are sent into our land to kill us and their agents. We have their agents in Biafra land that goes to point to the terrorists where Biafrans are living. And those agents, they are existing in Biafra land, and we will continue to fight them. If they come to kill us using the reintegrated terrorists, we are going to self-defend our people. We are also calling on the Nigerian government, headed by Tinubu, to release our leader Nnamdi Kanu. He has not committed any crime. The United Nations Committee on Extradition Rendition has told Nigeria to release our leader Nnamdi Kanu and compensate him. Nigerian state has refused to do that. About 2 to 3 competent law or courts in Nigeria, inside Nigeria, have told President Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu. Till today, Nigeria refused to do that. So where is the justice? Where is making the world a better place? When you have heads of governments performing and being part of criminality to silence the freedom of speech, to silence innocent indigenes that seek for their own freedom. Where is the justice in the world? Where is making the world a better place? Why United Nations, on one hand, has told Nigeria to release our leader Nnamdi Kanu, the United Nations Secretary Guterres has said that reintegration of non-terrorists will make Nigeria a better place. It's on record because he supports that. And that is why Biafrans will continue to be grateful to President Trump and what he does to bring sanity to the world, to make the world a better place. Making the world a better place is not just from what people or what leaders say by mouth. Making the world a better place is also shown by the action you carry out as a leader. You do not make the world a better place. President Stark of Finland, by arresting the head of state, the head of government of the United States of Biafra, incarcerating him now for almost 90 days. And you think that by taking away our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, in your collaboration with the Nigeria terrorist state, you think we are just going to die down. We are just going to keep quiet. We are going home this year. And we will self-defend our people. And self-determination is our right. On that note, Biafrans, we will continue to safeguard our people. Many Biafrans are languishing in different jails across Nigeria today. Courtesy of Nigerian Defense Chief Christopher Musa and President Tinubu. President Tinubu has sent so many armored tanks into the Biafra land. But he will not tell the world that he is invading a sovereign nation. He sent reintegrated terrorists wearing Nigerian military, driving Nigeria armored vehicle inside Biafra land to disturb the peaceful communities of Biafran innocent men, women, and children. Children passes armored tanks, armored vehicles when they go to school. Courtesy President Tinubu and Christopher Musa. What is their armored tanks doing inside Biafra land? In Finland, do you have military parading the roads of Finland? Britain, in Europe, do you have your military parading your streets? In America, do we have military parading the roads? No, we don't. But that is what Nigeria President Tinubu and Christopher Musa is doing in Biafra land today. We have their armored vehicles. We have their armored tanks with their weapons, with their AK-47, disturbing the peaceful community of Biafra lands. Why? Because they want to continue to kill us Christians, and they want to continue to milk our natural resources and send it over to Europe, to France, probably maybe to Finland. And then they partner with the president of these countries to arrest innocent Biafrans that are championing the cause for their people to be free. That is why our leader Nnamdi Kanu is being held today by the Nigerian government. They partner with Kenya government, and Kenya government was part of the plot to kidnap our leader Nnamdi Kanu and extradite him to Nigeria. Now Finland is doing the same thing, partnering with the Nigerian terrorist state to remove our leader, our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. That is what they do. They collude with their globalist agenda presidents to deal with anybody that questions their power. And you think we are going to keep quiet while you continue to do your globalist agenda? No, that is not going to happen. You have to kill all of us before you can succeed with that kind of agenda in Biafra land. So we have an innocent Biafran that was arrested since November or December. He's still being held by the Nigerian state in one of the prisons inside Biafra land. I think he's in Amawabia prison. Let me get the particular name of the prison, of the police station where they're holding these innocent Biafrans. Yes, I think it's Amobia. So this innocent Biafran was taken away by the Nigerian state. He has been locked up since November by the Nigerian police on Oka. Yeah, that is where they're holding this innocent Biafran. He is detailed by the DSS, Nigeria DSS is the one detailing this innocent Biafran from Oka. Oka is where the capital, hopefully, of the ex-Biafran state, where Soludo is the governor. They took this innocent Biafran from Oka police station. That is where his bail supposed to be done. And when our lawyers followed up, the crime that the Nigerian state, Soludo, accused this guy is for terrorism. They accused this innocent Biafran for terrorism. Just for saying he's a Biafran, he stands for fighting for Biafra. It is our basic right to determine who rules us. The Nigerian Tinubu government, with Christopher Musa and Soludo, they tagged this innocent Biafran a terrorist. And they put his bail at around 3 million naira. 3 million. Just for him to come out. I spoke with the wife. They've detained this guy since around November 2024 till now for committing no crime. Just imagine how many innocent Biafrans that are being committed in several Nigerian jails. And when I got the description of where that guy sleeps, on hard floor, very cold, and I strongly believe that is what Finland and Nigeria is doing to our innocent Biafrans too. That is what they do. They excommunicate them first. They lock them up. They isolate them, psychologically and physically trying to destroy innocent Biafrans for nothing, just for the oil, so they can continue to take the oil in our land. That is just one case. Really confirmed, realistic situation still held by Soludo in Oka for nothing. This is what the Nigerian state does. This is just one. There are thousands of innocent Biafrans locked up all over Nigeria for no crime. Many have been killed. Many of them, their organs have been harvested. Just because they are Biafrans, just because they want their own country, just because they do not want to live in a country where confirmed terrorists are reintegrated and hired inside the military and the police. That is their crime. So Biafrans today, we are going to pass a bill into law by the cabinets. Honorable Uche, if you are going to monitor that, please. Give me 1 minute and I'm going to read the bill and then read the statement of the government of the United States of Biafra on the crime of being a Biafran. Those of you who sees Biafrans as criminals, you are the criminal from today. You are the one committing the crime because we've done nothing. We are very loyal people. We obey the laws of the lands where we live. We follow the laws of the land where we live. We do not invade anybody. We do not take people's homes. We do not kill Christians. We do not kill Muslims. We do not invade and take over people's homes and properties. Anywhere in the world where Biafrans and indigenous Nigerians go, they follow the rules of the country. But you, who are the criminals, based on your quest for the oil from the Biafra territory, you categorize us as terrorists. You kill the Christians. It doesn't matter as long as you get the oil. That's all you're interested in. Today, it's going to end. So we are going to pass the bill. And during the voting, we are only going to take the cabinet members during this vote. And Honorable Uche, if you want to capture the cabinet members that are present at this meeting, so that when the voting starts, we will be able to capture the number of votes. So it's going to be, I'm going to go ahead and read. Again, before I proceed, I want to also thank all Biafrans that are listening. I know it's not easy. Some of us have been through a lot, and we've been tolerating a lot. And that is why we've declared our independence, and we are telling Nigerian government to leave our land, because we are not going to continue to allow them. We have notified the Nigerian state officially that Biafra is a sovereign state, is a sovereign nation. That official notification has been done to the office of Nigerian President Tinubu. We are not seeking your permission, because you do not need to give us permission to be a free nation, because it is our right. We are already a nation. But we have notified you so that the world will bear us witness that United States of Biafra have notified the Nigerian state that we are a sovereign nation. We have also notified Finland that they are holding the head of a government. They are holding the head of the United States of Biafra. We notified Nigerian state they are holding the leader of the United States of Biafra. That notification is part of the peaceful process we are going through to let the world know we are doing what we have to do in a peaceful way to protect the United States of Biafra. The statement of the government of the United States of Biafra on the crime of being Biafra. Crime of being Biafra, which Nigerian state has been selling that narrative to their global counterparts all over the world. The crime of being a Biafran. And I read, the United States of Biafra, reaffirming the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which addresses the individual and collective rights of indigenous peoples, expresses deep concern about the rise in discrimination, hate speech, stigmatization, racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance against indigenous people who identify as Biafrans. Right to self-identity. Our right to self-identity. It is something that is very, very important. Because Nigerian state has misinformed the world on who Biafrans are. And based on that misinformation, some Western world has been giving Nigerian state arms and ammunition, which they use against the Biafra people. We all remember when the Toscano jet was given by the United States of Biafra, when Tinubu and his cohorts went to lie to America that there are terrorists in Nigeria. And they were given those jets. And they were warned not to use those jets in Biafra territory, in the southern part of Nigeria. But did they obey that? No. President Tinubu and Christopher Musa has broken that Lehi Accord by using those Toscano jets against the Biafran people. They've used that to kill innocent indigenous Biafrans and also innocent indigenous Nigerians. The reports are there where they use those jets to kill innocent indigenous Nigerians in the northern part. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. They send the reintegrated terrorists with this aircraft. They go up and bomb and kill hundreds of innocent Christians in northern Christian zone. And they come out and apologize. They also kill some innocent Muslims in the process. But most times, they never kill the terrorists that those equipment, those resources were meant to be used against. No, they don't. Why? Because they support those terrorists. They support them for the Islamization agenda they have. Nigeria is a nation that have almost 50% of Christians and 50% of Muslims. But today, we have a Muslim ticket where we have the Muslim being the president, the Muslim being the deputy president. What do you expect? That is why Christians are murdered in their hundreds in Nigeria, and no one is talking about that. Tinubu is not talking about that. Christopher Musa is not talking about that. A nation that have 50% Christians, 50% Muslims have been dragged. The whole nation has been dragged into the Islamic organization, IOC. Today, Nigeria is a member of the IOC. Where do we, dear friends who are Christians, stand? How can you drag a whole part of a nation into an Islamic organization? Britain was part of that. And you expect us to keep quiet. Innocent Christians who are born in the northern part of Nigeria are forced to live by the Muslim law. You all remember Deborah that was stoned to death, a poor innocent Christian, and many others. That is what Tinubu and Christopher Musa is perpetrating and supporting today. And some of you, international leaders, you are aware of this, or you may not be aware. But you are hearing it from me today. That is what they are doing. Ask them. If they say that I'm lying, I will provide the fact. I'll provide the raw data to you. So how can we be Christians living in Nigeria, and now all of us have been dragged into the IOC, and they made us live by the laws that guide the Islamic organization? Is that fair? Who does that? And you want us to keep quiet? We have a right to self-identity bill 29. Right to self-identity bill 29. The United States of Biafra reaffirming the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which addresses the individual and collective rights of indigenous people. And we have so many indigenous people in Nigeria. But today, President Tinubu and Christopher Musa have forced all of them to be under reintegrated terrorists who kill the indigenous people, take over their homes. The senators, one of the senators said that they kill them, chase them away. That's why you have proliferation of IDP camps. What is IDP camps in Nigeria? Why do Nigerians have to go and live in IDP camps? Because the reintegrated terrorists that Nigerian government approved chase these indigenous people away from their home. And Tinubu goes and builds IDP camps for them because they do not want them to return to their homes. One of the senators in the north says that they pursue them, women and children, they leave their homes because they are afraid. They don't want to be killed. 1 month or 2 months after that, those their original homes are taken over by reintegrated terrorists rehabilitated by the Nigerian state. That is what is going on. They cannot come back to their homes. So they establish IDP camps. What is the origin of the IDP camps in Nigeria? It is initiated by Tinubu and Christopher Musa. That is what they do. And then when these indigenous, innocent citizens want to go back to their homes have been taken over by terrorists. And Nigerian government is not going to say anything about that. They take over their homes. And then they will tell you that there are terrorists in Nigeria. Yeah, they need arms and all that. And you, foreign leader, you keep on supplying them with arms that they use to kill indigenous Nigerians, indigenous Biafrans. I'll continue to read. Recognizing also that Biafran individuals have the right to life, physical and mental integrity, liberty and security of person, and the collective right of indigenous people to live in freedom, peace, and security as set out in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and emphasizing the importance of meaningfully engaging indigenous peoples in peace, agreement negotiations, transitional justice processes, conflict resolution, mediation and constructive arrangements. Following the rise in intimidation, harassment, reprisals against Biafra human rights defenders, one of them is our Prime Minister that Finland is holding today. And our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, that Nigeria, Christopher Musa, is holding today. And I continue to read. Including women, discrimination, hate speech, stigmatization, racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance against indigenous people who identify as Biafrans. The United States of Biafra Cabinet hereby declare that the crime of being tagged a terrorist for being Biafran by the Nigerian regime, Nigerian government, or any other government of the world, such as Finland, such as the one that Kenya did, is a violation of basic human rights. That Biafrans are a free and indigenous people who have every right to their identity, freedom, and membership in the community of world nations on an equal footing. This is our statement of right to self-identity, Bill 29. Forces, Biafra Liberation Army, the Biafra Navy, the Biafra Air Force, All these different groups have been established inside the United States of Biafra. Our task as a government is to continue to, after declaration of the independent state of Biafra, as our Prime Minister has told us, get all the necessary documents we need to present to the different organizations. Please mute yourself, whoever that is talking.
Close this one.
To present
Come guard that woman.
okay, let me do that because before we have to
Oh, note for
do what we did before. Okay, great. All right. Thank you so much. So as I was saying, for those of you that are following our Prime Minister very closely, he let us know that after the declaration of the United States of Biafra, miracle is not going to happen. He said that the essence of the declaration of the United States of Biafra is to enable us to get all the documents we need to present to the world, to present to different tables, to present to different organizations in the world, to let them know now we are a sovereign state. That is the number one goal after declaration. To generate the necessary documents we need as a sovereign nation to protect our independence, to protect our geographical region. That is the word from our Prime Minister. He also let us know, after the declaration of the independent state of Biafra, let us not expect miracles to happen, because the Nigerian state has been killing our people for the past 20, 30, 40 years. That is why we've declared our independence, because we do not want to live in a country where the government reintegrates non-terrorists and send them to the southeast and south part of Nigeria, which is now the Biafra territory, to continue to kill us, kill innocent men, women, children, burn our homes, burn our businesses. Now we have those documents. And thanks to our legal department, our lobbying department, our foreign affairs department, they are putting all the necessary documents at the right table. Please mute yourself, whoever is talking. We are generating those documents, which we have right now, and we are putting them on the right tables. That was what our Prime Minister said. We will also continue to use the three methods that our Prime Minister have explained that we are using for this independence of the United States of Biafra, which is the diplomatic aspect, which we thank our lobbyists that are doing that, the political aspect, which we are working towards, and also the self-defense aspect, which we are continuously mobilizing our Biafra military. That is what we are doing through a decentralized military system that the United States of Biafra is using. That's exactly what we are doing. That template, nothing has changed, unless the person didn't understand that from day one. We have only one government, the United States of Biafra, declared in Finland, November 29th, 2024. That is the only government that we have at this time. And we will continue to work towards the defense of that country. Please donate and donate and donate, because we cannot defend our land from the Fulani terrorists, from the reintegrated terrorists of the Nigerian government that come with AK-47, AK-49, with machine guns, that come with helicopters to bomb our land. We are not going to defend our land using brooms and sticks and cutlasses and machetes. We need to be able to raise the fund to raise equal resources that our enemies are using to come and kill us. We will also continue to raise the funds for humanitarian purposes to help all the displaced men, women, and children that the Nigerian terrorist state is killing every day in our land, in a quest to get our oil. That is the only reason why they are in Biafra territory, because of the oil they ship to Europe, France, and some countries like Finland that is trying to say that our Prime Minister Simon Eber hinders bilateral relationship between Nigeria and Finland. Finland, again, we are asking you, what is the bilateral relationship you want from Nigeria, if not the oil that comes from the Biafra land? Tell us, what is the bilateral relationship you are looking for in Nigeria from Biafra land? The oil comes from us. Nigeria will never give it to you. We will never give it to you. So you can question our Prime Minister from now to the next 100 years. Finland, you can never get one single drop of oil from Biafra territory. It's a promise. So we want all Biafrans to continue to donate. If you're donating $1 before, please donate $2. You can triple it. You can quadruple it. We need all the money to continue to get the same resources that Nigerian state used to come and kill and maim our people and burn our homes. That is called self-defense. Thank you so much. Famdi, over to you.
Am I in?
Yeah, we can hear you. Famdi, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
My video, please.
All right. Whoever wants to start their video, please go ahead and start your video at this time, please. Turn on your video at this time.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.